Welcome back, and I'm so excited because now we get to talk about my favorite thing in the world, cameras. Cameras are the tool that we use to literally capture time, and we are able to experience memories time and time again, and better yet, market our businesses. Now, this course is intended for beginners starting off with a smartphone or webcam. If you'd like advanced training on your camera, please let me know and we can nerd out all day. In this lesson, we're going to go over the basic parts of a camera, important terms that relate with the camera, how to set up a tripod, and basic composition to make sure you look great. So let's get started. Body. This is the body. Lens. This is the lens. Some cameras have a built-in or fixed lens like your phone or webcam, and some have interchangeable lenses that detach from the body so you can mix and match your set of lenses. Aperture. This is the hole that lets in a certain amount of light because science. Shutter. This is the time element. The camera only lets in light for a fraction of a second for each frame, and it does this about 30 times a second, which is pretty amazing. Sensor. Once the light goes through the aperture and past the shutter, the sensor is what absorbs the light and turns it into digital data. Microphone. It's not really a part of the camera, but because we are creating videos and not just photos, you need to know that there is a microphone, or at least a place to plug in a microphone. So those are the basic elements of a camera, and that includes your phone, webcam, or any professional digital camera. So now that we know our camera, let's figure out how it works. Exposure, the brightness and darkness of the image. If it is too bright, we call that overexposed, and if it's too dark, then we call it underexposed. You want to expose so that your subject is just right. Focus. This is the area of the frame that is sharp and clear. Focal length. Without getting too far into it, this means the angle of your lens, from a wide angle to a normal length that looks natural to the eye, or a telephoto, which means more close up. Most phones and webcams are a fixed wide lens. White balance. This is how your camera interprets color. Your phone will try to auto-adjust to its surroundings to understand what white should be. If a camera misinterprets what white is, then it can result in an image that looks too blue or too orange. This is why it is important to pay attention to the color temperature of your lights. With more advanced cameras, you can manually set the white balance to perfectly match the color of your lights. Each part relates to each other in one way or another, and it gets really complicated really quick. For now, most smartphones will allow you to touch the area of the screen you want to properly expose and in focus. Simply touch the area of the screen where you are, and boom, you're done. Exposure, focus, and white balance have been calculated for that area on the screen. Resolution. This is the size of the image based on the number of pixels that make it. Frame rate. This is the number of still images that the camera records per second. Pro tip. Here is where it is important not to be backlit. Because your camera can handle a certain range of brightness and darkness, it'll focus on one or the other, or try to balance the two. Here is a simple example of where I'm backlit. If I tap the focus on the background, I become too dark. If I tap the focus on me, then the background gets way blown out. And even worse, if I try to do the middle, then everything just looks bad. On the other hand, if I'm just as lit as my background, then the camera will have no problem exposing because it's all the same. Or if I'm a little brighter, then I can focus on myself and let the background be a little darker without any distraction. Fun fact, remember that light meter before? This is a tool to measure how bright lights are, so I can measure the lights on me, the background, and see where I need to make adjustments. Because your phone camera is pretty much on fully automatic, it is important to understand that you can change your lighting or the position of your camera to make up for those limitations. More advanced cameras simply have more manual controls and have a better sensor to be able to achieve a better video quality. So now that we know how to use our camera, let's set it up on a tripod. If you have an old tripod, that'll work, but you need to ask yourself where will the camera be when you shoot? Take some time to play with it before you purchase a tripod. Sometimes it's better to get a full tripod, and sometimes you just need a small one that'll fit on top of your desk. Work with what you have to begin with, and I have tripod recommendations in the links below. Like a camera, a tripod has a few basic parts to it. It has the legs, the head, the plate, and a phone adapter. Depending on your tripod, you may have one that has a standard plate, which in case you will need to get the adapter to be able to use it with your phone. I have recommendations in the links below. Or if you have a tripod that's specifically made for a phone, then don't even worry about it. The important thing to remember is that consistency is key. It makes it easy for your audience to recognize you, and it makes it easy for you to set up each time if it is the same. If you have to put your tripod away between shoots, I recommend taping a small mark at each leg to know exactly where to put your tripod when you're ready to shoot again. If you're using a webcam, then simply place it on the top of your computer monitor. The easiest trick you can do to up your production quality to make it seem like you're not shooting on your phone is to turn it sideways. That easy. Avoid vertical video sidebars that automatically generate on your desktop. Vertical video is okay only if using a mobile app that is designed specifically for mobile videos. Otherwise, just turn it sideways. Every professional camera shoots horizontally, and TV and desktop monitors, and even phones when you turn them sideways, are horizontal. If you want your videos to look professional, shoot horizontally, period. Okay, so now that we have a stable horizontal image, let's dive into the components that make up composition to make your image feel natural and not awkward. The first thing with composition is the camera angle. With most phones and webcams, there is a fixed lens so you cannot zoom in. This means that it'll be very wide, so you have to adjust you and your setting rather than your camera. There are attachable lenses that you can get for your smartphone to achieve a more telephoto look, but I don't recommend it unless you have the budget to spare. Most phones and webcams are wide angle, and this will naturally expand the depth of the image, meaning that what looks really far away isn't really that far in reality. To give you a quick example, here is what it looks like with a telephoto lens. See how the space is compressed? This is a bit advanced, but the good news is that you can get a lot closer to your backdrop without it looking like you're right up on it. Avoid low angles. One of the biggest rookie mistakes is to set up your camera or your laptop on your desk and start shooting. Although it can convey power, it also makes your audience feel inferior, and viewers are looking up at your nose and neck area, which can be unflattering. It also tells me that you didn't put any thought into your production because you just turned it on and started recording. And a low angle is just never flattering. I suggest that you make the camera just slightly above your eye level and tilt the camera down slightly. This will hide any unflattering features from your neck area and make it a more natural level like you're having a conversation with your audience. If you're using a webcam, try raising your computer monitor by placing it on a box or a stand. Rule of thirds. You may have seen this on your phone, but these are the lines that look like a tic-tac-toe game. This is the grid that will help you with what we call the rule of thirds. If we break up the image into 3 parts, both vertically and horizontally, then we get 4 intersections that we call the power points of the image. If we put elements of our image on these lines and power points, the image will be more aesthetically pleasing. In our case, we want to be the focal point, so we can be between the 2 lines and we can have our eyes on the top line. And make sure that we have a little room at the top. See, now doesn't this look much better than before? And all we did was raise the camera and paid a little attention to the rule of thirds. Now we can get creative on we can adjust our set and fill our frame. If you have a fixed set, then we may have to move a few things around. But you can add shelves and furniture to add elements of design to your frame to make it more interesting. When you're placing your items of interest, be sure to make sure it looks natural and not distracting like something's growing out of your head or through it. I'm going to let you in on the 2 biggest lessons I learned in film school. Number 1, video production is a fine mix between technical and creative work. What you do is only a mistake if you didn't mean to do it. And number 2, if you're setting up your set and something isn't looking right, just remember what you can control. You can move your setting, your camera, or you. So, congratulations! You are ready to start shooting great looking videos. Oh, yes, we cannot forget about audio. In the next lesson, we'll go over the most important and most overlooked element, audio. In the meantime, though, Try your new photography skills. Even with your everyday photos and selfies, you can apply what you just learned with lighting and camera basics. Go out, create better content, and make the world a better place. And I'll see you in the next lesson, Audio Basics.